Now, let's see, it is August 19th, 2007. We're in Honolulu, Hawaii, talking to my grandparents, Art and Mitz. It's about, 9:40? 8:40? 9:40. Alright, so what do you guys want to talk about?
Grandma would like to talk about herself first. Ask her first.
No, I don't have anything.
How did you guys meet? Do you remember when you met?
I have it all in my story. The book that Linda wanted me to write, it's all in there. And it's lengthy. He's going to run out of time on that thing when he asked me about how we met and all that.
But I've never heard you say it. Like, did you meet here on Oahu or in
Yeah,
the Big Island?
Yeah.
How old were you guys?
Well, I was about
He lied to me.
20 years old.
That's why I'm older than he is.
I did not lie.
Yes, you did.
What did I tell you?
I don't know. But
See, you don't know.
I don't remember.
See, you don't remember. I never lied.
No. I think you did. Only later on I found out you were younger than I am.
Wait, you were 20 when you met?
No, I think it's just
Didn't you go off to the war before that?
No. Yeah, I was 20.
How old were you when you went off to the war?
No. I was 19 when we met.
How soon was this before the war?
And then, just during the war.
So you met after the war started, but before you left?
1942.
Yeah.
1942, yeah. Then I left for a war. All of these things are in detail in that book that I'm writing. You want me to talk about interesting things? I'll talk about my nephew Wade. Okay?
You want to talk about that?
Yeah,
okay.
that's more interesting because anything else is written in my book.
Yeah.
You can pick it up from there. Because otherwise, you'll run out of time on that.
and don't
We have
ask,
lots of tapes.
And don't ask me because I don't remember all of it.
Yeah, but you remember I lied to her. Stranger.
I'm sure you did that.
Oh, anyway, let's talk about Wade. Wade Ishimoto is my older brother Paul's son, one and only child. He went to Iolani High School here, one of the better high schools. And then he went to, I think, Lewis and Clark College in, where is that, Portland or Washington? Washington, I guess. And while he attended college, he supported himself really by working part-time and going to surplus store to buy clothes. He wore army uniforms all the time, so people thought he was on active duty. He wasn't. After graduation, he enlisted in the army, and he had a long and distinguished career. He belonged to an organization called the Green Beret. Now, Green Berets are the best chosen from the Rangers. Rangers are a big organization, maybe 3,000 people, maybe more than that. So they picked the best to become Green Beret. That's why they're the Green Beret they were, to distinguish themselves from other organizations. They call themselves the Special Forces. He spent 3 tours in Vietnam. Their job was actually highly secret at that time. Now, when the war ended, I asked him, he came to see me, then he told me what he actually did. He spent 3 tours in Vietnam. His job was to assassinate the Viet Cong. He was a hired killer. They wore no markers on the uniform, so they cannot tell where they came from. They used to go out at night into villages, seeking out the Viet Cong and killing them, and come back to camp. He never received a wound while in Vietnam, but he did make one parachute jump and broke his leg. That's the only injury he sustained. Then he returned to the United States, and he was assigned to University of Hawaii to get for 2 reasons. One, to be a planted spy there to observe the activities of the students, and secondly, to get his master's degree in Asian studies. While there, he noticed that Linda, my daughter, was very active in demonstration against the war. And one day he called me, he said, "I want to talk to you privately." He did. He says, "You know, your daughter is getting involved in these activities. It's not going to sit well with the government looking on you as a soldier. So you may lose your security clearance. If you lose your security clearance, that's the end of you. So you better talk to your daughter and tell her to back off on her activities." And I did. That really angered Linda. Even to today, she is bothered by it. But if she continued, then I would not have been in the service anymore. And there goes her financial support.
Were you a general at that time?
No, I was lieutenant colonel then. Then Wade completed his studies at the University of Hawaii, got a master's degree, and when they formed the Delta Force, the primary mission was to save the hostages in Iran back in 1980. President Carter was the president then, and their job was to go into Tehran, Iran, and rescue, I think there were 44 hostages. And my nephew was a captain then, and he was an intelligence officer for this Delta Force, they call it. The Delta Force composed of the best of the best. In other words, best of the Green Berets was selected for that. His boss was named Colonel Beckwith, the author of the book Delta Force. In the book, he mentions my nephew's name many, many times. Now, their plan was to get into Tehran, land in the stadium adjacent to the place where the hostages were kept. Land all the choppers in there, raid the building, and Wade, my nephew, had all the keys to hostages' room. I guess they had spies in there to get that information. And they were to release the hostages from the rooms, take them into the stadium, and then the helicopters would transport them out of there safely back to into the desert where the C-130s were waiting for them, and fly from there to Oman and back to the States. Well, on their mission, they practiced this mission many times over, so they thought they had it made. However, there were 3 services involved: the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. Air Force, you transport by heavy aircraft, and the Navy to operate the helicopters, and then the Delta Force to go in and save the hostages. Now, they took off from stateside. They landed at Oman and spent the night there. And then when they were ready to take off, they found that there was a storm, dust storm, so they couldn't go ahead. They had to wait another day of delay. Then they took off the following night, landed in the dark, and my nephew was one of the first to get off the airplane. He got off the airplane with a motorcycle with a staff sergeant. Remember, he's an intelligence officer, so he had to go ahead and reconnaissance. As they drove them up on the highway in the darkness, they saw a truck coming towards them. They yelled in Arabic to stop. The truck kept coming, they yelled again, stop. Finally the truck did not stop, so he fired the machine guns at him. And then the truck just blew up. It happened to be a fuel tanker. So they hurried back, got on a motorcycle, went back to base camp. But when they arrived at base camp, the place was all ablaze. They saw C-130 burning, helicopter burning. Then they looked around, they couldn't find any airplanes. Finally they saw, at a distance, one aircraft taxiing out, so they chased after the airplane, signaled them to stop, opened up the ramp in the back, they got on the aircraft and flew back. Wow, this story was told to me by my nephew Wade after the thing was all over. After he got out of service, he explained to me why this thing failed. He says, one of the helicopters landed accidentally on top of a C-130, and that blew up the helicopter and also the airplane. And the whole place was lit up in flames, and therefore they had to abort the mission. He said, one big mistake made was that 3 services involved. They should have had only the Air Force to transport them to that site, and the Army to handle the mission from there on, including flying the helicopters and using the special forces. He felt that having the unqualified naval helicopter pilots contributed to this mistake. That's how my nephew felt. After he got out of the service, he worked with Colonel Backwood at a security firm they formed in Austin, Texas. The company did not do too well, so my nephew worked at some base in New Mexico. I think it was Sandia Lab, I'm not sure, I can't remember that. But he was in security, out of being sentry or securing installation. He was a spy by trade, so I'm sure he was connected in that kind of work. Now, whenever he disappears for a couple of months or so, maybe 3 months, my brother used to tell me, oh, there goes Wade with a special mission. So one time, he disappeared for about 90 days. When he returned, then later on, my brother found out that Wade was indeed in Korea, when they were having trouble with North Korea about the nuclear devices they were trying to manufacture, or not manufacture, but they were trying to build. And he got involved in many other areas of the world, once in Europe and places like that. I guess he went even to Bosnia. Later on, he quit that company and worked in Washington, D.C. for another company. There, he knew many of the generals there because those generals were former comrades of his in the Special Forces. The Chief of Staff of the Army, General Shoemaker, was a lieutenant with him, was a captain and with him during the raid on release the hostages. So he knew those guys real well. Now, he appeared on Fox television many, many times during the beginning of the Gulf War. Weekly he showed up. And he is well known throughout the entire military community as well as the FBI, because he gives lectures to the FBI, he gave lectures to different police departments. He came here to Hawaii, and his big biography is so page and a half long. And one of the police officers here looked at his biography and said, "I can't believe this guy is for real," you know, what he's been involved in. He's been involved in so many different areas and different missions. He knows about a lot of things. So he specializes in terrorism and those things. So it's written in a book, Delta Force. So read that book. There is a message in there to me, signed by Wade.
By the way, did he receive any, what do you call it, for what he did?
Well, he gave me a short brief here.
No, ribbons or anything?
A what?
Any medals?
Medals, yeah.
Huh?
Medals.
Did he get any awards for what he
He
did?
never tells me what kind of medal he got.
Oh, yeah.
Wade is the kind of guy who won't talk too much about too many things unless I ask him. And I never mentioned about medals, but I'm sure he has a lot of medals.
He must have gotten
Yeah, he must have. Of course he must have. He won't talk about it. But while he was at the Pentagon, he ran across Joseph Peterson, his cousin. Joe Peterson is my sister Marilyn's son. He was the all-state football tackle for St. Louis High School. They were the champions then. He's a big guy, you know, probably 6'1", 6'2", heavy set. And he ran across him, and he said, "Hey, Joe Peterson, what you doing here?" Joe said, "Oh, I've just been interviewed by Defense Chief Rumsfeld and General Pace on the job that's open in Iraq, which is the senior commander of the ground forces in Iraq." And he said he was turned down because he did not have experience in staff work. He only had experience in command, so they thought he needed some staff experience. So they chose a guy named Ricardo Sanchez. And Sanchez was promoted from 2-star to 3-star general and shipped to Iraq. He became the ground forces commander in Iraq. And fortunately for Joe Peterson, he wasn't chosen because Sanchez got involved in the infamous Abu Ghraib prison scandal. Because of that, Sanchez was forced to retire. Had my nephew been there, he would have been involved in the Abu Ghraib. So he's very lucky that he wasn't. However, while he was assigned to Rumsfeld office there and the Department of Defense Secretary's office, he got involved in this special mission, which was to track a ship that was suspected of carrying nuclear devices and being transported to some Arabic country. What country? Joe never mentioned to me. He said just one Arabic country. But it was his job to track it by satellite and then to take the ship down at the right moment without creating any publicity. Nobody would know about it, and to keep this thing highly secret. It never appeared in the paper. So it was his duty to track the ship and to attack the ship at the right spot at the right time so that no one would know about it. He did that. They destroyed the ship. And one day he got a call from the National Security Advisor who replaced Condoleezza Rice. He called my nephew and said, "Hey Joe, you did a great job there." Joe says, "Oh yeah, oh thank you very much. I appreciate that." And then he hung up. And Joe never knew what the guy was talking about because it was a highly classified mission. The guy's not going to mention what it was. So he told his aide, the captain, he said, "Hey, I want you to find out what Mr. Hadley said. What was he talking about?" So he tracked it down and found out that it was about that mission. He said, "Oh," then he forgot about it. Then after his tour, he spent 1 year with General Pace. General Pace wanted him to stay with him longer. I guess he made a name for himself. But he requested that he be transferred to Iraq, at which they gave him permission to go to Iraq. That was back in 2005. Yeah, 2005. And he was assigned to be with the Iraqi Interior Ministry. And his job was to help the Interior Ministry, the police forces, to train the police forces and those things. But he found out a few months there that a lot of bribery, a lot of these activities that was not conducive to a good organization, So he exposed them and fired a lot of high-ranking officers from the police department. Also, some people from the ministry, Interior Ministry. And that was shown on national television. It appeared on NBC News. So he made a name for himself. He spent a year there. On his return, he stopped by here, and then we had dinner together at Aaron's. And that's when he told me what he did over there. He did not mention about this ministry, Interior Ministry. But anyway, he said he's on his way to get a new assignment. He's being promoted to a 3-star general. His job is to be deputy commander of FORSCOM. FORSCOM is the Army command where they train all the troops, the training command, and then train also the reserve, like National Guard and reserves. He was be assigned a deputy commander. Their headquarters would be in Atlanta, Georgia, and Fort McPherson, Georgia. So he left. Then for his promotion, he wanted to be promoted here in Hawaii. So he made an arrangement to have himself promoted at Fort Shafter, to have his friend put the pinning, the rank on him. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, his friend could not make it. He was a Marine general. So he has a general over here, 3-star, to do it for him. And there was quite a bit of publicity here. The 2 television stations showed up in big widespread. Star Bulletin had a front page article about him. Mm-hmm. It says, "Local Hawaiian makes good." When I saw that, I kind of laughed because, by golly, you get half Japanese, born and Hawaiian blood in him. He is half Japanese, 1/4 Chinese, 1/4 Hawaiian. So
where's Peterson come from and all that?
What's that?
Where's the name Peterson come from in that mix?
Yeah, because that one name was given to him. The father name was given to him. He was adopted by a Peterson family.
I see.
You see? Although he was Chinese, Hawaiian, he was adopted by a Caucasian family. Mm-hmm. That's how I got the name Peterson. So there's no Caucasian blood in him. So he got promoted, now he's deputy commander of FORSCOM. And then past history indicated that whoever is the deputy commander always step up and replace the top man, which means that he has a very good chance of becoming a 4-star general in about a year and a half, 2 years.
Before you go to that, when he became 3-star general, advertiser, huh? He's a local boy, never mentioned anything in the paper, nothing. And Star Bulletin came out with the whole front page, you know, and he got mad. He quit advertising. He even called the advertiser. Local boy being promoted to 3-star, and he didn't, you know, get even in the paper at all. Can you imagine? I was mad about it.
Oh, that really ticked me off. You know that?
I can understand it. You know, when it's a local news, you know, it should be in the paper, right?
There's another thing too. I'll call Channel 7, CBS, I'll call Channel 4, ABC, local channels now. I'll call Channel 8, it's NBC, and then Channel 3 here, that's Fox related. Only 2 stations showed up, ABC and NBC. But ABC, this guy, gave a long exposure on television. I had it, I have it taped. NBC gave him a pretty good coverage too, but not as long as ABC. There's a lot of questions about him, you know. But the other station, they're on my S list. Oh yeah, CBS, KGMB 7, they never showed up. And Channel 2, Channel 3 rather, over here, KHON, they never showed up.
So have there been many other 3-star generals from Hawaii?
They did mention, you know, there's no footage, television footage, but they did mention in the newscast.
Yeah.
So it wasn't completely not mentioned. Advertiser never mentioned one thing about him. They're on my S list for now and forever.
Well, at least, Matthew, here, I said something, right?
Yes, he did say something.
I helped him. He forgot.
Okay.
Wait, have there been many other 3-star generals from Hawaii?
Have there been how many what?
Have there been many other 3-star generals from Hawaii?
Nope.
What's his name?
There's only 2 here. One guy is Japanese Hawaiian. He's an admiral, vice admiral. Okay. The other guy's name is Ono. He was Army personnel director. But he's the first combat type, you know, general.
I see. What about Shinseki? Is he from Hawaii?
Shinseki was 4 stars,
I
different.
see.
He was Joe Peterson's boss. He liked Joe, that's why, you know, they always said, oh, your Hawaiian connection got you promoted, you know. They said they joke around, but I don't think they were joking. Well, let's talk about me, all right? I mentioned about my experience in World War II. I used to get angry after I came home that people said, oh, you're just an interpreter. Oh, what you do, interpreting? Implying that that's all we did, we were in the back, not getting involved in combat. That turned me off. Unfortunately, we cannot say a word because when we got discharged, we had to sign a declaration stating that we will not discuss where we have been, what we did, what organizations we belong to. And that lasted until 1970 something, until the Freedom of Information Act was passed. Then they released the information. By then, you know, years have gone by, and many guys were dead already, and we just didn't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But my experience, I'm going to relate to you. You see, my story that I'm writing. I fought in the Luzon, Philippine Luzon Liberation Campaign, they call it. We left the States on a troop ship called USS Leonard Woods. We left from Pittsburgh, California, in heavy woolen uniform, you know, 90-degree temperature. I said, who is the damn dumb guys sending us in uniform in this hot weather? So we got on board a small ship in Pittsburgh. We had to walk quarter mile from Camp Stoneman, yeah, Pittsburgh, California. To the ship, got on board the ship, past Vallejo. As soon as we passed Richmond, then the weather got cold. I mean, the temperature dropped. And I said, oh, whoever planned this thing was real smart. Anyway, we spent 31 days on board the troop ship. We had a submarine alert as we passed north of Truk Island. And they got us all down in a hole, locked the hatches. We waited. There wasn't a sound. Nobody talked. We just sat there, and you could hear the waves splashing on the hull of the ship. Every so often you hear a shoo, shoo. Then suddenly the ship lurched left, on port side. I mean hard left. We felt ourselves swaying one side. Then, in a little while, it straightened out. Then about 15-20 minutes later, the all clear sounded. So I got out of the hatch, went on deck. I ran forward to the bow of the ship. I talked to the gunner's mate. That's the guy who was manning the gun on the bow of the ship. So I asked him, hey, what was that when we made a hard turn left? He says, oh, they fired at us, torpedo. And I said, how close was he? He said, damn near hit us. That's how close it was. And then as we approached Philippines, we got air raid warning and stuff like that, but you know, you get closer to land. And we got off the ship on the cargo nets onto Higgins boat, a small little boat. You have to time yourself because ship is bobbing up and down. When it came up, we jumped into the boat. One guy jumped when it was going down, and he fell another 10 feet down and broke his leg. But we landed like we were on the amphibious assault landing, but by then the fighting was all the way in, so we were fairly safe.
Where was this? Where?
In Philippines, Luzon.
Like, okay, Luzon.
I can't remember the name of the location. Sounds like Alibong or something like that. I'm not sure.
Do you remember the date?
I can't remember the date. But anyway, we landed. Then they put us in a tent. We stayed there for only 2 or 3 days. They got us in a kettle car and moved us forward to a bombed-out building, and that's where it became our permanent headquarters. And a few days later, I got my orders to go north. Myself and another guy in the military intelligence. We got on to on board a small little aircraft. I don't know where we took off from. I can't remember the name. It was a small airfield. Flew to a place called San Jose. Landed there. Got on the jeep. Headed north into Cagayan Valley. We had to go on the left side, which is the Cordillera Central Mountains, with General Yamashita's troops were still up there, and his headquarters was there. I think they call it the 14th Army, Japanese Imperial Army. As we traveled on the foothills, it was only about a couple of weeks before that they had a big battle going on, and they took the places. Name of the cities were, towns were Bayonbon, Bagabag, Solano. Then we turned right into the valley, headed north to a place called Tugoigarao. On the right was Sierra Madre Mountains. Oh, the mountain is about 4,000 feet high, maybe thereabouts, maybe not that much. But my orders were to report to this 37th Division, and then from there to battalion headquarters, and then they gave us orders. We want you to go up to the mountain, capture prisoners, and interrogate them, find out disposition of troops up there. Because they estimated there was one whole division up there of Japanese. And there may be more other, units up there. So we got on a jeep, and we had another 3/4-ton truck escorting us with infantrymen. We headed up towards the hill. Then we hit the truck behind us, hit a landmine, blew them up. So I don't know why anybody got killed or what. We didn't have time to stop, but we just kept going. And finally, we couldn't get any further because of the road. We got off the jeep, parked the jeep, went up the hill, myself, the other military intelligence, and 2 riflemen. Only 4 of us. We started to climb the hill and watch ourselves as we went by. We saw mines here and there. So we marked the spot so that we will not step on the mines when we had to come back. So we put markers on the pathway. And finally we climbed up about 200-foot level. We heard some sound, so we hid in the bushes. We saw half a dozen Japanese troops. And I can't hear what they were saying. They were very close to us, so I could hear them talking. Then 4 of them disappeared. They climbed the mountain, they disappeared up. The other 2 were looking around for something, so there was a chance to ambush them. So we came around the other side, and they caught them. They were surprised. But when I looked at them, they were dirty, bearded. They had the guns and the helmet on, but they were dirty. We surprised them. So we got hold of them, brought them down a hill, partially down, because we didn't want to be close to the other troops up there. They might capture us instead. So we came down, and then safe enough, then I set the guy down. My companion, the other intelligence specialist, talked to the other guy. So we were apart. The first thing I did was told the guy, sit down. I said, where you from? Japan, where? In Japanese. Nihon doko desu ka? I said, so where are you from, Japan? He gave a name of the prefecture, I can't remember now. But it's a farming country, someplace up north. And when I looked at him, he's not looking at me. He's not looking in my eyes, he's looking down on the ground. And then I look at his hands. His hands are shaking, quivering. You can see that he's afraid, shaking like this. So I said, just relax, I told him. I said, the war is over for you. We're not going to kill you. So relax. I I said, we're gonna send you back to a prisoner of war camp. You're gonna take a shower, we're gonna give you nice clothes, we're gonna feed you. The war is over for you, so relax at home. Nothing's gonna happen to you. This is not like Abu Ghraib now. I'm using psychology on this guy. Then I said, look, you have a family in Japan? Oh yes. Are you married? Yep. How many kids you have? He said, I have 4. Oh, what's the youngest? How old? I said, oh, maybe a year and a half now, you know. Now, how long have you been in service? About over 2 years, he said. And you're a sergeant? He said, yeah. Well, you came out fast, you know. He said, yeah, I was lucky. Why did you come out fast? Oh, all the guys in my unit were getting killed, so I finally got promoted fast. Anyway, I said, how about a cigarette? I offered him a cigarette. You offered it. Domo, arigato. Domo. So I lit the cigarette for him. He took 2 puffs, and I saw his shoulders drop. That means he's relaxing. I noticed that his hands are not shaking anymore. So I said, look, I gotta ask you this. Where'd you come from? He said, up the hill. What organization is up there? He said, the 103rd Division of the Japanese Imperial Army. And I said, what other organization, what other units up there? He said, we have an armored brigade, independent armored brigade. That means you get a lot of tanks up there. I said to myself, this doesn't sound too good. Then I asked him, what were you doing around here? What were you looking for? He says, we're looking for food. What do you mean food? He said, anything to eat, you know? Potatoes or whatever that's edible. He said, we're ready to eat because we haven't eaten in 3 days, he says. I noticed that they were very lean, they were skinny. Then I asked, you said you were searching for food, you guys are shortage of food. He said, oh yes, we're all short of food, not too much food left. I said, what about the other things like medical supplies? Always short of medical supplies too. He said, a lot of the wounded can't be cared for because, you know, they don't have any medicine anymore. And I said, how about ammunition? So we're low on ammunition. What about gas? He said, we have none. I said, you mean to tell me the tanks cannot operate? He said, no, they cannot, they grounded, they cannot move, we don't have any gas. That's all I wanted to know. I said, okay, I think I heard enough from you. So I took him down the hill, and I signaled to my buddy, are you finished? He said, yep. We came down the hill, back to the Jeep, we followed the trail where we left markers so that we don't step on the landmines, got on the Jeep, headed back towards battalion headquarters. Oh, that's good. 3 miles down the road, 4 miles down the road, somewhere about that. Then I reported to the battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel. I said, I have this prisoner, I have all the information. I turn him over so that he goes to the POW camp. I said, I have all the information from him. So I sat down, got the field typewriter, I typed out a report, I gave it to him. And I was there on a temporary duty assignment, which means if you stay there less than 3 weeks, less than 30 days rather, then my records would not show where I have been. So my military record doesn't show that I was there involved in this kind of activity. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
So I went back, drove all the way back to San Jose, got on the airplane, went back to our headquarters, and then headquarters are close to Manila. In fact, it was on the outskirts of Manila. And the fighting stopped around there. Fighters all over north, still going on. And I reported back to my headquarters. And I noticed that every morning as I went to my headquarters, there was a Japanese POW sweeping the steps and picking up rubbish. And I always say, Ohayo gozaimasu. He always say Ohayo, that means good morning. And I offered him cigarette every single morning. I gave him a cigarette. He always waited for me. Say Ohayo. He always say Ohayo, Ohayo, and I give him a cigarette. He asked me one day, "What's your name? You know, please, if I'm not too bold to speak, may I, you know, he politely said, may I ask your name?" I told him, "My name is Ishimoto." Oh, I did not ask him his name. And there's another funny thing going on because he belonged to the prisoner of war camp close by where we were staying at. And there was an Australian major in charge. He get this Japanese in the morning, all stand at attention, and they're marching to the work site. And they're swinging their arms wide like this and singing, "God bless America." There you go, "God bless America." It's the funniest sight I ever seen in my life.
Okay,
Huh?
Matt,
You want to take a break?
can I take a bath?
Yep. Again. So, when you were interrogating the soldiers, when you were interrogating that soldier, so you were still in the wilderness then, or were you already back to camp?
I interrogated him up in the hills.
So you just had those two riflemen for
Two
protection?
riflemen, yeah.
That's all the protection you had when you were out there?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Because the other guys were wounded. Remember that mine, the blow
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
There were 12 guys in there. They were wounded.
Go, you grab. You cross. Yeah.
And some guys were killed. I don't know whether they were killed, but we didn't even have time to stop and check because we had to keep going, you know.
Yeah.
We were at least, 50 yards ahead of them. We were supposed to meet at the foothills and get off and go up together, so we were going a little faster than them. And I never found out whether they were all killed or some killed and some wounded. I know they were hurt, I know that.
Yeah.
I saw the truck just boom, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're in the back or 50 yards back.
Oh, so you didn't bring those prisoners back to camp and then interrogate them?
Brought them back, yeah.
No, but you interrogated them in the woods first and then brought them back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, remember I said I was about 200-foot level?
Yeah.
I had to come down some more because I don't want to run into the Japanese troops up there.
Yeah.
There were only 4 of us.
Yeah.
We don't want to get captured.
Yeah.
So we came down to safe distance and then we interrogated them.
I see.
We're still up in the hills though.
Yeah.
Maybe 100-foot level, maybe a little less than that, I don't know.
Was it day or night?
Daytime, yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to picture in my mind the scene.
Daytime about afternoon, early afternoon sometime.
Okay.
And after I made a report, I assured the colonel that they're in bad shape.
Yeah.
They're really not a threat, you know. We don't have to worry about them. So
Yeah.
we can bypass them because they cannot fight back. They're not a threat, they're not going to attack. How can they attack when you don't have gas?
Yeah.
Huh? How can they attack with low on ammunition and food?
Yeah.
So I said, they're not a threat.
So they never try to.
No,
They never fought?
They try to move some troops later on, I understand, south of us, back to the Cordillera Mountain to join General Yamashita troops up on a hill, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's they call it the Shobu group. And from what I understand, a lot of them were captured while they were trying to, rejoin the Yamashita up in a hill. Some go through, but a lot of them were captured. That's the information I got back. But then we heard that they dropped a bomb, the A-bomb,
Where were you when that happened?
We're still in the Philippines. That was several weeks later. And when did they drop the bomb? August the 5th, I think, yeah? August the 9th. August the 9th, yeah. August the 9th, yeah.
What year? 40,
They
46?
dropped in Hiroshima.
Was that
Dropped the atomic
46?
bomb in Hiroshima, August the 9th.
What year?
August, wait a minute. I think it was the 9th. Anyway, thereabouts. And so we knew they. Then 2 days later, they dropped the second bomb in Nagasaki. So we knew then that the war is going to end. So they had orders for me to take my 10-man team. I was a team leader, 10 intelligence people under me. And I had orders to take my team to Okinawa in preparation to get into Japan. Then a few days before our departure, maybe 5 days, thereabouts, they replaced me with a guy named Joseph Kawada. He was same rank as I was. I was a staff sergeant then. He was a staff sergeant too. And then I noticed they got into the truck that day. We said goodbye to them. We waved at them. I see you in Tokyo. And they left. That was August 13th, 1945. I remember the date real well. Well, it takes about, from Clark Air Base, flying on the airplane, it may take about 5 hours, I guess, 4 or 5 hours, to reach there. But they left early morning. So I would assume that they approached Naha Airfield in Okinawa about late afternoon, While they were trying to land, the last kamikaze, they came from Kyushu, Japan, were attacking Naha Airfield, and they put a smoke pot all over the airfield. They couldn't land, and the kamikaze were coming, and they slammed into a hill and killed all of them. All 10 of them died. And if I was replaced, that would have been me. And I see, every now and then I'll go to Punchbowl National Cemetery to pay my respect to Joe Kawada and a few other guys named Wilfred Murakami, Francis Sogi, a guy named Ishimoto, one other guy, what's his name now? Well, anyway, they buried up there. And subsequently, we were given orders to board a ship to head to Tokyo.
Wait, I gotta stop it. The tape is about to end. So let me get a new tape. Okay.